All right, we're here with Quinn Priester here at the Red Sox. We just did a tour of this entire facility, and it's like better than most big league facilities. Like, how cool is it to like be here and have access to all this stuff?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I think it's one of the newer ballparks in AAA, if not the newest, and you can definitely tell everything is really nice, really new, really clean, and that's a testament to some of the guys in there who help us out with that because we try our best, but sometimes get a bit messy. But being at the facilities, it just makes it easier to get better and continue to work getting back to the big leagues.
So when you first came over here, was there some sort of meeting or conversation where someone in the Red Sox organization is like, we believe in the talent, we see the skill, here's how we're going to work with you? Like, was there a plan set out to do something differently and then be able to implement it?
Yeah, definitely. So we sat down probably my second day that I got here, and ultimately it was like, hey man, like next couple starts, go out and do what you've done, and we're going to slowly incorporate some stuff, but here's what we do want to see before the end of the year, kind of working towards the end of the year, and that's velo and then taking some vertical break off the slider, just get a little bit more swing and miss there. But primary goal is just kind of creep that velo back up, because I've had the most success in the big leagues when the velo's been up. And nice, almost just got hit there, but and I was on board. I feel better as a pitcher, when I do turn around and see, 6 instead of 3. And so that's been the main focus, and we've been doing a really good job at hammering that. And now it's kind of getting to the execution of things and learning how to command that new, velocity and some of the new stuff we've been working on. But it's been really good, and I think I'm becoming a lot better in the short time I've been here.
Was there a moment where something clicked for you? Like, was it in that conversation, or was it when you went out there and implemented different things that they were talking about and you were like, oh, like, why wasn't I doing that all along?
Yeah, the big one for me was Junis. Took me in after start in Syracuse, and was like, hey, like your arm is getting outside of 90 degrees. So like when I'm coming through, the arm's getting wide. And one that's harder on the arm, it's harder on the shoulder from a just a health standpoint, and so that was really the main focus with that. And so that was the day after I threw, went out and started to play catch, and then he was, hey, let's try this. And so I just over-exaggerated it, and the arm just flew through. And I was like, oh, nice. Like, that was pretty cool. And then the next bullpen, was sitting 93, 94 in the bullpen when that was what I was at in the game. And I was like, oh, like that might actually help, the other side of things. It's going to keep me healthier, yeah, but it's also resulting in the goal we're trying to achieve. And so the more we've hammered that, the better it's been. And the next game after we talked to that Q was up to 97, which was great, like a huge step forward. And the next week went back down a little bit. It was a noon game and just, still learning with everything. And last outing, velo's back up. So that goal we're hammering, feeling really good about it. But like I said, just continue with the execution, start to, learn how that feel and how I can command the ball better. And that's going to come with, some reps and some time and just keep getting better.
You mentioned when you first came over here and you had spent time obviously in the bigs the last couple of years or so, but your identity as a major league pitcher was something you were kind of staying towards, even though you were down here working on stuff and kind of going along. How did that kind of come about for you to want to look at things that way? And while you're working on things, do you feel like you're ready to contribute in the big leagues if the call comes?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like you said, I'm a big leaguer. I've been there. I've had success. It hasn't been as consistent as we want it, but it's there, and that's, what I look at. And I look at the game earlier in San Francisco last year against the Reds and against the A's, and a couple good games. Like I've done good things, just haven't really had the consistency. And this is where I'm starting to feel that consistency, being able to do the same thing every single day, which is awesome. And yeah, just be ready for that call, and ultimately the goal is to get back to the big leagues. When you're told you're going to AAA, it sucks, but you kind of have two decisions. It's like, okay, you can go and pout and not get better, or you can go just try and get better as fast as you can to get back to where you want to be. And when you kind of put it as like two decisions. Like every action I have is either going to be working me towards the major leagues or working me out of baseball. Like it's really, really an easy decision to be like, all right, you know what, I'm going to go make the most of it. I'm going to get as good as I can and get to a spot so the next time I get that call, it's the last time I get that call. And it makes it easier, though, being surrounded by some of the guys like we have down here who've been really successful and are kind of in the same boat, working their way back to getting to the major leagues. And that's cool, and that's part of being down here, being able to talk that through with some teammates and workshop and stuff.
So we've seen Liam Hendriks get some time down here. Rich Hill made a quick cameo before he came up to the big leagues. We hear all the time about what those guys are doing down here in terms of, things for the clubhouse or whatever it may be. Was there something specifically you took from one of them, or what was it like in general, kind of just spending time with some of those guys?
Hendriks I'd never met before, and so just super loud personality, super fun guy in the clubhouse, the couple times he's been in, and he's been so generous to us. He's gotten us coffee bar, Chipotle, freaking last night, Ruth's Chris, like the freaking man.
Good living.
The freaking man. So Hendriks has been great. And then Rich, I got to know a little bit last year. So Rich was up with the Pirates when I made my debut last year. And so we kind of had a little relationship, before he got traded over to the Padres. And then when I saw him again this year, just talking some of the stuff that we've been working on, he was, what's up?
Yeah, helping with the velo.
Yeah, no, but he saw
baby.
me get off the mound, and he was like, hey, man, like, it looks a little different. Like, it looks good. And I'm like, dude, like, that means a lot. Like, coming from you, like, I really appreciate that. Like, and then just being able to talk, he shared some stories about Greg Maddux when he was with the Cubs, and just the experience that he has is truly second to none. I don't think there's anybody in the major leagues with more right now. I could be wrong, but being able to listen to him and even guys, Brad Keller is down here, and he's had a ton of success in the major leagues and free agency and stuff. So like being able to just talk to those guys, guys who've done it and been there, it's just, they talk about it a certain way, and that's, what I'm trying to do myself. So, yeah.
What's the energy like in here? Not even compared to anywhere else, but when we were in Portland earlier this year, it's a lot of guys with that mentality. Let me get to the next level. Let me get to the majors. You guys are on the precipice. What is the energy in that locker room day to day?
I think it's really positive, especially for the time of year it is. It's kind of getting to, if it's not already the dog days, we're getting to that spot where the bodies take a little bit longer to get warm. But everyone, this weather this week has helped the morale. Like, it just the sun hasn't been beating down on us. But it's been really positive. Everybody, there's been some movement and stuff going on with the Major League Club, and everybody's, staying ready and keeping themselves in a position to get that call. Especially September's coming up, and hopefully for this playoff push and stuff. So I think, with the big league team staying in that playoff race, everybody down here is extremely, motivated and driven to keep staying ready to be able to help out when that's necessary. And you can feel that. And even though it is starting to get, pretty darn late in the year, and that tends to get some slower, bodies for sure.
Was it the moment that you learned that you were getting traded, was it a glass half full or a glass half empty thing where you're like, oh, the Pirates are giving up on me, or the Red Sox see something in me that they think that they can unlock? Like, what was your first thought?
I was excited. So to finish up in Pittsburgh, I'd moved to the bullpen, and certainly, in any way to help the team win at the major league level, that's what we're here to do. That's what we wake up to do, is to help the team at the major league level, whether that's in a bullpen or a starting role. But for me, like, I really felt strongly at my age and with what I can do and what I'd done in the past, that there's still a really good path for me to help a major league team in a starting role. And ultimately, I think that's when I'm at my ceiling, whenever that is. I think it's as a starter who's dominating at the front end of a major league rotation, and so for that to kind of take it to the side was something that was tougher for me to get over, I guess. And so after the All-Star break, so the move happened right before the All-Star break, me going to the bullpen, that is, and then it kind of took a little bit for me to let that digest and say, okay, this is the role I'm going to be in to help us win, and at that time help us get to the playoffs. And then when I did get the call and talk to Breslow about going back to the starting role, like I remember like I was on the phone and I just got a huge smile on my face and I told my girlfriend like starting again, like, and that was the thing, because it was like good, like that's where I feel my ceiling's the highest, that's where I feel I can achieve the most, for not only my career but for the Red Sox and going forward in that role. That's what I believe in myself, and for the Red Sox to come in and say that's what we believe too, it's great and really motivating. It's to have them have my back in that way. It's great.
Is there a guy you kind of model yourself afterwards? Because you do keep the ball on the ground a lot. Here we're always talking with Brian Bayo. People want to make Pedro comps to the most ridiculous level. But is there someone you kind of modeled your game up growing up or even at this point?
No, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and I grew up being a Cubs fan. And then I was also committed to TCU, so I love Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta was the man. 2 no-hitters that year, Cy Young. Like, he was the man. So he was a guy I really, really liked, but I could never step across. So, like, I remember when I was in high school, there was like a week where I was like, I'm just going to do this because it's really good. Jake Arrieta, is doing this by stepping across. And so at that point, it was kind of just like, at that point, looking around on YouTube and seeing other guys and all the elite level throwers, it looks just so athletic and whippy. Like, I think I just kind of got a grasp of just watching everybody, just kind of the similarities of it all. Because I remember I'd watch Arrieta, I'd watch Syndergaard, I'd watch Buehler, I'd watch like just a ton of different guys. I'd watch Hendricks, because Hendricks is such an outlier. He could do all that stuff and manipulate, and it was just, I think it just came from watching everybody, that I never really modeled my game after a certain person or a certain individual. I just always loved watching everybody and taking what I could from there.
Jake Arrieta, another guy who his second team is where he blossomed.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
Definitely, yeah.
That is also very true. Last question. What are your goals to finish out this year? Like, what can you do that by the end of the season you can look back and say this season was a success?
Yeah, I think we can go back to that velo piece where it goes, hey, like if we can average that 95, miles an hour, that tells us, one, we're moving really well, and then also that there's room for more to get in the off season, put on some weight, get strong, and do those kind of things that aren't throwing, that translate to velo and translate to going deeper into games and to holding velo. And because you see, your better starting pitchers in the major leagues who are throwing higher velos, they're big dudes, with the exception of Jared Jones. Like, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody else, but it's very, it's correlated, right? So I think that's probably, if I can finish up the year averaging that 95, which I have done, 2 of the last 3 outings, I think that gives me the optimism. It's like, okay, maybe that's going to be the floor if we can put on 10, 15 pounds and get really strong, kind of mature into, me getting older, becoming a man type of deal. So I think if we can finish the year doing that and then, maybe even put that name in the conversation to help out a playoff push, is definitely the goal. But it's something I can control. It's going to be the velo piece to then hopefully get the confidence within the whole organization for me to be able to help at that level, and then if not, come in ready to make the team next year and really have that be the goal, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Don't get too far down the line. Let's stay in 2024 for now, and try and make the playoffs and help out. So,
Quinn Priester, thank you so much for taking the time, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.